Ooh, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Darku, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to beat the hooh fight with just 2 Pokemon after the Halloween patch and nerfs. So previously it was known that you could do this using a Chandelier with Flash Fire and also holding Leftovers, and a Gliscor with Poison Heal also holding a Toxic Orb. But during the Halloween patch, they made Sacred Fire no longer absorbed by foes, so Flash Fire is now in the bin. As well as when you start boss fights like Red or the hooh fight for example, you actually get healed at the start of the fight, so if you pre-poison yourself with Toxic Orb, it no longer applies because you've just been healed before you enter the fight.
Oh no, no, no.
Although with these changes, we are going to be using the same Pokemon with a slight difference. Gliscor will be keeping its Poison Heal and Toxic Orb, but we can't pre-poison, that's the only problem. Chandelier, obviously, we're going to be using a different ability. Now, it isn't absolutely necessary, you don't even have to get rid of Flash Fire actually, but it is important that you change the EVs on your Chandelier. So now I'll show you the stats on my Pokemon. Now yours doesn't have to be the exact same, but I do have Impish on my Gliscor, which gives it better defense and less special attack, and I have Modest on my Chandelier, which gives it special attack and less attack. The IVs are as follows. Obviously they are a perfect build with 31 in every stat they need and 0 in the stat that they will never use. You may actually get away with using a Pokemon that has 20 plus IVs, you don't actually need a 6 IV perfect Pokemon. Now the ability we have on Chandelier is actually the hidden ability, which is Infiltrator, and it can pass through the foe's barriers and strikes, which is really good. Obviously that's an added bonus, but you don't absolutely need this. Onto the EVs though, obviously Gliscor is going to have it all pumped into its HP and defense. Don't mind the 10 attack and 4 speed, that's just how I prefer it. Obviously you can just fully dump it into HP and defense and that'll be fine. The Chandelier however needs its special attack obviously, but we're going to dump as much as we can into special defense and this will come into play later. Before we start climbing the tower, it's worth noting some of the items we're going to be using in this fight. If everything goes well, we only need 1 X special attack and 1 burn heal. But given that mistakes can happen, obviously it's worth bringing something like an X defense, a max potion, and a full heal. So without further ado, let's start climbing the tower. So phase 1, turn 1, not much has changed from the original strat. You'll still be using your Gliscor to put an X special attack on your Chandelier, and your Chandelier will be using Calm Mind. During this turn, obviously Gliscor is going to be hit to about half HP and now burnt, and obviously because he's burnt he cannot get that Toxic Orb heal. Not only that, but obviously hooh spawns an ad, aka it's going to be Raikou, Entei or Suicune. So turn 2 then, based on what the ad is, if it's Entei or Raikou, we want to use a Shadow Ball from our Chandelier, and we're going to use Gliscor to switch. If it's a Suicune, we're going to be using Energy Ball onto the Suicune, and we're still going to switch with Gliscor. And providing everything goes well during this turn, the ad, aka Suicune, Raikou or Entei, should be dead. Nightwing should also be up in the air with hooh, but burnt at half HP. What we're going to be doing this next turn is using something like a burn heal or a full heal on our Gliscor, and Gliscor will be using Roost. That way when hooh lands it won't do any damage, and obviously Gliscor is going to heal up, and not only that, we got rid of the burn, so the Toxic Orb will now affect Gliscor, and Gliscor will now get the Poison Heal. On that same turn then, obviously hooh is going to call another ad, which you need to use a Shadow Ball or Energy Ball if it's a Suicune, and you're once again just going to switch with Gliscor. Now providing everything goes well, you should once again kill the ad. However, in this video I'm showing you how it can cause a problem if the ad doesn't die, of course, and you low roll. But have no fear, if you're in the air once again with hooh, you can just tailwind when you land and then just use a shadow ball or energy ball once again to kill the ad. Into the next turn then, obviously hooh is going to call for more help. Once again we're going to shadow ball or energy ball whatever the ad is, and we're just going to switch with Gliscor once again. So now we've reached the point where there's no more ads, it's just hooh to fight. So what we're going to do from here on out is rinse and repeat. Our Gliscor is going to constantly switch with our Chandelier, and depending if we've got Tailwind or not is dependent on what move we use. For instance, if we're faster than hooh because we've got Tailwind behind us, we want to Shadow Ball hooh before it goes in the air. If the Tailwind actually peters out and it's still in the air, we can also once again use Shadow Ball so it will land first and then we will hit the Shadow Ball. If for whatever reason you've got Tailwind behind you and the hooh is still in the air, you want to use Calm Mind because you won't hit hooh when it lands. Even if some mistakes are made and you've been hit with moves that you shouldn't have, by the time you actually take down hooh in phase 1, you should be full HP. It's also worth noting as well, if you're not paying attention and you've accidentally been grabbed by hooh on your Chandelier, what you want to use is an X defend and keep your Chandelier alive. You'll be wasting your next turn making sure that you switch and obviously heal back up your Chandelier because of your mistake, but it is recoverable. So because of the EVs being in a certain way for Chandelier, obviously the main target for hooh will be Gliscor. So when phase 1 is actually down and phase 2 comes up, it will actually try and hit Gliscor with as much power as it can. Gliscor, obviously being the beast that it is, will survive this hit. Now if your Chandelier isn't a +6 by this point, you want to switch with your Gliscor and use Calm Mind again. But once you've reached that point, all you're going to do is constantly rinse and repeat. Every time it will try and Solar Beam your Gliscor, you just want to switch and make sure you Shadow Ball. If you're worried that Shadow Ball will make it flip the stats, aka Shadow Ball making it lose its special defense, it can sometimes flip and go back up. What you can do is use a move like Flamethrower instead. But by this point, nothing else should go wrong. You're just going to constantly switch your Gliscor with your Chandelier. Your Chandelier is going to constantly use Shadow Ball or Flamethrower. If your Shadow Ball isn't PP maxed, I would highly recommend that as well. If you've gone into this without a PP max and without the Flamethrower and your Shadow Ball is running out, you can waste one turn obviously switching your Gliscor and your Chandelier can use a PP up. Chandelier being the tank that it is and also having the +6 stats, eventually you will take down hooh by just doing the rinse and repeat tactic. Eventually you will beat hooh, you'll get your 10 rainbow quills and your 3 legendary lures. So I've actually tested this method at least 4 times. One time it had some really weird RNG where it didn't want to go for Gliscor for some reason, but other than that every single time it is the same pattern. So there you go ladies and gents, that's how you still beat hooh with just 2 Pokemon after the Halloween nerf. But because the devs don't like you having fun, obviously I'll probably see you again next week showing you a different method. I hope this helps all of you out there. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and all that business, and I'll see you on another video. See ya!
Nice.